Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Sunday. We are back live on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere and anywhere. Welcome to Landscaping to the Point, where we get straight to the point with today's fun and exciting topics and just have fun talking about some weird stuff. It's been a couple weeks. How you guys been? Josh, JC?
Doing good.
Good.
Excited to be back on. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. So it's been a fun last couple weeks. I don't know about you guys. What's new? Let's go that way. What's been new with you guys? It's been JC. Anything new that you want to tell us? Did you get finally noticed in Japan and get the notice about your baby or what?
No, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's been pretty much a year this week since I went to Japan, and but yeah, as far as new things happening, not too much. We I don't know if you guys got snow over in cornfields, but
No.
we got some snow, and it was kind of a late April Fool's joke on us. So weather's been kind of weird. I guess this week's supposed to be a lot better, but still early for the season because the ground is super saturated. So there's nothing going on as far as getting ready to get out there.
That's good. I mean, we didn't get no snow here, which was actually pretty good. But you never know. I mean, we had rain upon rain upon rain. So I mean, it's been a fun week of trying to do stuff with muddy yards, muddy equipment, muddy everything. So it's normal for a spring, right off the bat where we get tons of water and stuff. So,
Mm.
but no snow, so that's a good thing. So, Josh, what about you? Have you been out doing any work yet, or what?
No, just doing estimates and cold calling. Like Jensen said, we had the snow and that was great just because we're out of contract for like 40% of our annual contracts as of April 1st. So we were able to generate some per push, per salting, and shoveler hours. So that was great. Other than that, just getting ready, trying to get ready. We're going to lightly start next week with some smaller commercial properties. Like, like Jay said, the ground's just soaked right now. There's still some snow in the beds, depending on where you are. And, you can't go too much, maybe just do light cleanup. So
Nice. Well, welcome everybody that's listening and watching. Yeah, it's been a crazy spring rush, and that's what the topic is today: is crazy spring rush and how do you prepare if you're not into it yet, or if you're already into it like I am. We're about 3 weeks already deep into it, and it just keeps getting busier and busier. So I think we are, as of yesterday, I sold 4 jobs. So we're pretty much booked out for the next 2 months with our mulch and our landscaping. So I think we're going to hold off on some stuff unless we can, book stuff for in June. So I think it's always good to be booked up right away and set to go for the rest of the couple months. But what about you guys? Josh, you said you were out doing estimates, getting ready for everything. Are you getting ready to book up everything and got everything prepared?
I got a few jobs. So this is probably the first year in quite a while that I'm not booked out for, at least until July. So again, cold calling. We put a bunch of commercial maintenance bids in, and actually, out of like 16 I put in, I've already lost on 10 of them.
Wow.
So it's cold calling. It's getting competitive this year, like we've spoke on past podcasts. So it's just giving people more bang for their buck and kind of go from there. And then I mean, all you can do is get ready. And we have mulch sold. We got promos up for mulch right now. I'm bringing in a couple tractor trailers of black and hemlock mulch. A new thing that we're lightly experimenting with this year is the annuals. So like spring, summer, fall annuals, and then also some perennial planters. So that's something we're playing with a little bit for residential and commercial, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so now that you said you're bringing in stuff, so are you going to have a spot at your shop to hold it all, or how you doing that?
So I have a salt bin at my shop that we actually ran out of salt in this last storm, and we'll put probably the black in that one, and then unfortunately, that's all I have. But I have a guy that's going to give me some Jersey barriers, so we use the Jersey barriers to put the hemlock. So we're just doing black and hemlock.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we're pretty much at the same point. We changed distributors last year, and they had two locations open. Well, the one they're not opening because they're having issues with keeping employees right now at that branch. So we're actually going to start getting a bunch to our shop too, just because I don't want to drive as far as I'm driving just to get the mulch, and it's costing us some time. So
cheaper. It's a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah. Pretty much. If we get it delivered to our place, it's a third of the cost. Yeah. So, I mean, to be able to have a loader on site and do that, it equals out to where I'm still saving money by doing it at our shop than driving. Driving wise, I'm driving like to go get loaded up, and it would have took me an hour and 10 minutes to go get loaded up and get back to the job site. And most of my job sites from my shop are 15 minutes. So I don't want to be over an hour trying to get a load and get it back to whoever's helping me, unload it. So usually my guys can get 4 yards done in an hour. So I don't want to be waiting around them sitting there waiting on top of me driving and wasting gas. So yeah. One Love says, yeah, I sure hard the horse. Yeah. The horse can pick up the mulch. Don't worry, Nick. Don't worry.
Hey, how are you guys doing your mulch packages? Do you do it all like one inclusive price where it's like, hey, like $150 will clean the bed's edge and mulch, or are you breaking it up where it's like, like $75 to $100 to spread the mulch, just spread, and then per hour for bed prep, and then however you do the edging? How you guys putting that together?
We put it together as it's all one price, pretty much, unless you want pruning or if you want spraying, that's extra, or if you want pre-emergent, that's extra too. But we'll go through the beds. We'll blow out the beds if there's any leaves in there. Usually a lot of our customers already have of us for our cleanups or spring cleanups, which we've already ran through. So there's not many leaves in there. So that kind of gets good. But we had one earlier this week that he was like, oh, I already did my leaves. It's good. And we still went through and blew it all out. And I mean, we got probably about a wheelbarrow full of leaves out of every bed. And then pretty much we go through when we blow it out. We'll try to, like, if we're doing in the front yard, we'll blow the whole front yard down. We'll make sure that whole front yard looks totally good. So when people drive by, they see it and they notice it. The backs will just kind of blow out and then rake up. But then, we edge it all out, pull any weeds that we can, and then just go ahead and, mulch it. Now, when it gets later in the season, like June, if we pull up to some yards and I try to go through them at least a week ahead of time. And if they're full of grass or weeds, I'll go through and spray them instead of having to come back and pull them, because it's just by June, some of those, are so full of weeds and grass and they ain't been taken care of. So it's like, I want to make sure that it's a fast in and out instead of 2-3 hours pulling weeds. So that's one of the things we try to do.
Do you, I got a couple questions for you guys. Have you played around with any new services that you're planning for this year, and have, like we talked about last year, price increases? One of the reasons why I bring up new services is because I've been seeing that mulch dye has been something that's been popular lately for like touch-ups and stuff, as opposed to doing new installations for mulch. And then, of course, price increases and stuff like that. So I'm sure some businesses have already kind of put the word out to their customers prior to the season, during the winter.
Josh, you want to jump on this one first?
New services would probably just be, kind of playing around with the annual service for the plantings. But I'm not really going to change much. We are, again, so we're dabbling back at the commercial maintenance, which would include mowing, which we got out a few years ago, where if we actually secure a few of those accounts, we might dabble in some more residential mowing going back, but it'd be very selective, size, customer type. You'd have to sign up for 2 other services of the mowing. Price increases, slight price increase. It's going to go on the product side more than the labor side, just because when people do want to see that divide, I want to show that we haven't gone up in the labor side. Obviously, things have gone up, on the commerce side of it, so it's a little easy to bump that up. So we'll probably go up about 20% in the products this year, maybe 15%. But other than that, no, I can't see too much. My main focus is trying to implement some new services for the winter. I'd like to get into like some wholesale salt. So I'm still in winter mode for next year, getting that going. So that would probably be one new service.
That's not bad. That sounds pretty good. We always increase our prices every year. We're pretty much 10 to 15% across the board, depending on how our products get raised. But then pretty much also the only service we added this year was power washing. And we're doing a little select on that. On power washing stuff, we actually started off with one, which pretty much paid for our power washer. And we've already sold, I think we've done 3 already this year. So, it adds up real quick. But one of our thing is just to concentrate on trying to make sure that we, get as much stuff out of every customer as we can, because every time you go to a job, there's new stuff. A lot of our customers didn't know that we did certain landscaping, certain things, and now we're starting to pick more and more up from each customer, which by showing them what you can do and telling them what you can do, they'll go ahead and go with you instead of waiting around and saying, hey, well, I got another guy that does this. I got another guy that does this. If you can be at that property, 10 times in 1 week compared to, 1 time a week, that customer knows that you're doing a great job. And then all the neighbors are going to be like, wow, look at what they can do. They can do this, they can do that, they can do that, as long as it's all in your service realm and not just outside of your service realm.
Are you running a specific power washing crew, or is this like getting distributed amongst your employees? And because it's very time consuming on some projects.
Yeah. The one we did, the one job took us about 4 hours to do. But then we had one job that we both kind of went on. It was a day job that we literally did a sidewalk, a small patio, and a couple decks. And that literally ran two power washers the whole day. And then the last one we did, we had a patio that we did while we were already doing other stuff while we were doing landscaping there. So it kind of worked out to where we had the crew already there. One guy just pretty much jumped out and just power washed it all down. So that way we kept moving on, doing other work and kept producing the work. We bought another truck this year. So we're actually going to try to expand more onto our landscaping, and the power washing would be part of that landscaping division instead of just, trying to push everybody off to one job or over to power washing. So yeah, go ahead, Josh.
That was one part of the new. I bought another truck, not new, but I bought a 15 Ram Cummins 2500 4-door. Nice. 4-door. So that'll probably end up being my truck, the 4-door. I've wanted one for a while. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm
happy about it. It's real nice truck.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Did you say you bought a Ranger, or you were planning, or you wanted to buy a Ranger?
No, a Ram.
No. But like a couple podcasts ago, you were talking about like a little small.
I have the Ranger.
Oh, you do have it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one yet.
So what do you use the Ranger for during the year?
So what we do is when we do, if we get a lot of one-off spring cleanups, maybe like one-off mulch jobs. So one of the things I try to sell people is they come and they say, yeah, when they start with we don't have time to take care of this. We might get there and there's a ton of weeds in the bed. What I do is I offer service, which is a monthly maintenance package for the beds, where we'll go in, we'll re-edge, we'll identify disease or insect damage, pull weeds, freshen up what needs to be freshened up, and then make recommendations, maybe address drip irrigation. That doesn't justify a 1-ton truck or a big dump truck going out, but a Ford Ranger that you could put a couple of those Rubbermaid barrels in is perfect for it. Some hedge trimmers, you don't go overboard. Obviously, if we're getting a massive trimming job, that's when the dump truck would go over, but the Ranger just kind of fits that. And what I'm hoping for the winter, it's 2-wheel drive, so it might not make it into the winter, which is, I'm already on the fence of like whether I keep it and get a 4-wheel drive one. I like to use it as a shoveler rig, if possible. So we'll see.
Those little Rangers are good trucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to have that smaller truck just to be able to do that little stuff that.
It's a 4-cylinder. It's barely using the fuel we need. It can go all around. For those maintenance properties, we charge a 2-hour minimum to go in. They're there for about an hour, so it's perfect, and they're putting around 10 hours a day. So it works out great. And again, you're not giving up a full size truck that could be used to tow a trailer or haul some heavy stuff.
Right. That's pretty good. Actually, pretty good idea. Now, okay, so here you go. Here I go on you to you. So now, mostly, you said that just truck goes without a trailer, goes by itself, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what if you put a small dump trailer on it?
I don't think it would handle it. Range is fairly small where I wouldn't want to. The whole idea is not to beat the shit out of it completely.
Right.
But it could even be later on used as an estimate truck. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think if you put a dump trailer on it, I mean, we could probably get away if we did a 150, which I kind of feel we could have got away with like a quarter ton. But price was right on it. I like the little 4-cylinder. The gas is right. I probably wouldn't put a trailer on if it needed a dump trailer. I got rid of my dump trailer a few years ago, but if we had one and it was needed, we'd probably just drop it off and park it off to the side.
Yeah, you definitely need like upgraded suspension and all that for that, plus 4-wheel drive.
But even with that, a 4-cylinder, I don't think you'd really be able to haul a dump trailer. But
Right.
I mean, I might be wrong. There could be guys that do it.
But you'd be stressing the transmission for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but yeah, I think like JC saying, you'd stress the transmission. Your shocks would probably go fast on it, because you're hauling that trailer around. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, keep it small. I guess if you really needed to, you could always get like a small, 5x8 trailer or something if you really needed to. But
that's the one thing I think about is like the 5x8. You can build up the sides and strap some barrels to it if you need to. Those green barrels or Rubbermaid barrels. But like the diesel that I'm buying, the new truck that I'm new to me truck I'm buying was more for like the heavy hauling and stuff too, where that's got the Cummins in it, wide wheelbase on it. So that's going to be used to like haul the excavator, the skid steer, and kind of take the stress off the dump truck where I'll move things around a lot more. Plus, it came with a Polycaster 1.6 yard Salter and a Fisher XV2 VPA.
nice.
All in one.
Yeah.
That was you couldn't move away from it. It was a steal, I thought.
One of the cool setups for like the landscaping and like mowing and stuff like that, where guys are buying those small U-Haul cube trucks, like the really ones that are low to the ground.
Yeah,
like I hate pulling a trailer when I had one, but that'd be a cool setup.
You talking like a rider U-Haul truck, the box one?
Yeah, but it has like the full gate, and it doesn't sit high up; it sits lower down to the ground, so you don't need much of a ramp to get a mower in there.
So I was actually looking into those, depending on like what we did for the commercial maintenance, and because I could use it as like a shoveler rig too, and put a pallet of ice melt plus like our snow raisers and stuff. But I mean, it's justified by what we get for service. You know what I saw too, which was interesting, is what do they call tailgate ramps? You take off the tailgate, and it's a flat body you bolt on, and you get this like you can roll like probably a sit on or a stand on mower in the back of your pickup truck. I thought that was real cool.
Yeah, the ramp racks.
Ramp racks, yeah.
Yep, them are pretty cool. Yeah, we thought about looking into one just for winter, actually, just to run it during the winter, so that way you're not picking up the snowblower back and forth. You're just rolling it up instead of that saves so much time with
two great minds think alike. I'm thinking the same thing of how you could switch them out back and forth.
Yeah, and then just have it to have like for if I'm running an aerator. Instead of having to, pull a trailer for an aerator, or you got to transfer, a lawnmower, because a lawnmower's broke down or something, or you got something small. That way you're not, having to pick it up all the time. So
I think both options are great, the box truck and the ramp rack, because think about it. You don't have to train a new guy to back up a trailer, drive a trailer, because that's a hard thing, especially if you're in a dense like urban area. You don't have the insurance. And the extra, the excise tax and the plates every year for the trailer, and it's just one less thing you have to park and maintain. So I think there's a big thing. The only thing is like if you're, if you have to haul off clippings or something, that's the only pain in the ass. I mean, that's our thing with the commercial contracts. We were just mulching them down. That's what we were going after. We stay on them every week, and we weren't hauling anything. So
there is a company around us. They started out with dump trucks and 20-foot trailers. They just moved to. They have 3 box trucks this year with the ramps on them, and they actually carry a truck goes around. One of their dump trucks goes around and goes to the sites with them that has to be bagged. so that way the grass gets dumped into the dump truck instead of having to haul a trailer around. So they got rid of all their trailers pretty much and just went box truck.
You guys know how much those ramps cost?
The ramp racks cost, I want to say, like $35 to $4,000.
Ramp racks are for the pickup trucks.
Yep.
And then what about the ones for the box trucks, the wider ones?
The wider ones, I want to say
about five grand,
probably.
Yeah, I'm looking one up right now. Ramp rack 100 series standard, $5,089. $5,000, yeah.
And I guess like the other thing you could do if you're starting up and you don't have the $5-6 grand, if you find one with the Tommy gate on it, you could the Tommy gates are the things where you drop it down and you kind of just take an elevator down. You could do that too.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, that'd be the easiest thing, really.
Until you save up some money to buy one.
Green Touch has one for like it looks like F-150 standard, and that's about $4,400.
That's still not bad.
That's not bad, really. I mean, if you think about it, think of if you're buying a trailer. If you went and bought a trailer, okay, a trailer is going to cost you $9 to $20 grand, depending on what size trailer you are. To put a ramp rack down for $5,000.
Yeah.
And
now you're not dealing with the insurance and the taxes.
Yeah, if you're a small company only running maybe 1-2 mowers, I mean, yeah, you can only fit, I think, the width of your bed. So you can only put a 48-inch mower in there. But, I mean, come on, you can put almost two. I think they had 2 48s on one of the trucks down at Equip last year. So, I mean, look, you can put 2 48s on there and still be able to go around and, make it easy for you. So I think that's definitely something to add on.
Josh plays Fortnite, but he can never get his microphone to work.
Yeah.
I can't talk trash.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, so now that you're getting mulch set up and all that stuff, how much mulch are you guys getting brought in?
It's 80 yards a tractor trailer, so somewhere close to like 200 yards. But what I did is I don't know if I'll use all of that again because we got rid of the mowing a few years ago. I lost a lot of the maintenance, like the cleanups and the mulch and all that. But what I've done is I reached out to a couple of guys local in the area and said, hey, I can be a little bit more competitive, like 10 to 15 yards off a yard of mulch if you want to come in. It's on the honor system. There'll be a skid steer or a front end loader there where they can just load up. I know all these guys, but at least it saves them the time. Like if they have to go in on a Saturday or a Sunday if they're late, a lot of the supply yards in our area shut down around like 3-4 o'clock, which is absurd.
Wow.
That's so that way these guys can run in, and I'm not charging them an arm and a leg, but I'm making back my money for the difference on it. That's all. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's easier that you do it that way than I feel like it's easy that way for a lot of other people because there's a lot of companies out there. And like you said, some places are closed on certain days. We have one supplier here that's open, just actually opened as of April 1st, Monday through Sunday. So they're literally open every day during the week till 4 o'clock. Yeah. But like a lot of our other ones now have closed at 5. So a lot of these guys are going out at 5:36 and can't get the mulch. So if you can get a hold of a couple people and say, hey, if you need mulch, I'll sell it to you. So,
well, that's the idea. And like I said, like one of the things, the new services I'm looking into is possibly wholesale salt to contractors, which, I'd like to do maybe the mulch at the same time too. I mean, that also comes into play, what my lease includes. They do sell mulch out front we rent from a nursery, so they have that. It would have to be, leasing or buying a new lot space that we could do that in.
Right. So now would you do that with salt when it comes to winter then?
Absolutely. If I could bring it at the right price where I'm definite that I could, it would be beneficial to a lot of guys. Plus it feeds us for our accounts too. We run through a lot of salt.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. It'd be easier that way, I think. So yeah. Now are you expecting a lot of sales this year for patios?
I'm hoping.
Yeah, you're hoping that.
Trying to sell me on one.
Yeah, I know. He keeps saying that, so I'm waiting for it. Right.
It's going to be competitive again, like I said. So I'm trying to figure out a deal. I'm working with some of the suppliers to see if we could possibly get a better deal on pavers for a certain amount of times where we can offer a discount on the material side of things. But we'll see. You know, I mean, let's talk. Can we talk marketing real quick? Advertising.
Yeah.
Like I've said on past podcasts, you know, personally, me, I lucked out during COVID. I didn't have to invest a lot of money into advertising. A lot of it was word of mouth. I did spend about, I think, between like $3,000 and $6,000 with Angie's, just because I got a lot of positive feedback on Angie's list. For me personally, there was a zero ROI, which that's the worst. That's the worst I've ever dealt with. Not sure why. I know a lot of people have made out with them. But right now, like I'm doing, you know, the free stuff with like Google My Business, Yelp, Angie's List, House, Nextdoor. And, you know, I'm trying to avoid when Google spiders your page, they don't see any dead sites, you know, so constantly updating either a message or a photo. And then I have a call in for Google AdWords that I'm trying to take advantage of.
Right. Yeah. I mean, do you think that it's easier to do the Google AdWords than doing it EDM?
I think so.
Okay.
I think EDM is it goes to a demographic that we no longer service or on the back end of it. I'm sure it's, you know, visual, you know, if people see your company 3 times, you know, they're more prone to use it. But I think everything's digital. Everything's on your phone. You know, everybody goes right through their phone. So if you have those Google AdWords and they're popping up for you right there, and you have those sponsored posts or ads, I mean, you know, you're going to attract a demographic. Like, what's our demographic? Typically 30 to 50-year-olds, you know.
Right.
Once you get that 55 plus, those people aren't too worried. They might be in retirement and they're dealing with them themselves, or, you know, you might get a one-off patio or landscape design, but, you know, our demographic is typically 30 to 50.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
You know what's a good business practice to get you more customers is that I drive by these really nice construction sites, and then I take their sign off and I put my sign on.
Dude, I hate that. I hate that when you know a certain company's doing it and some other company comes by, or it's one of your yards and they come by and put a proper, you know, a sign in, and you're like, seriously, like, we know you don't do the service. Why would you put it in that yard? You know, I get that it drives people to look at that yard, but I mean, people can notice who does that yard and stuff. So yeah.
That's like for Valentine's Day. Like, why buy flowers? You can just go to the cemetery and pick up some flowers there. You know?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's bad.
Oh yeah.
Mother's Day. You know, you just get the flowers from the cemetery.
Right. Why not? Right. I mean, go ahead and go get free flowers for Mother's Day. You know, that's the easiest way, right?
That's dark, man.
Okay, so marketing wise, I mean, how you said you're marketing through Google AdWords, all this other different way. Are you trying any of the Facebook ads? I know Tino last year was using Facebook ads. He said he got real good results off of that.
So Facebook ads, I don't know if I'm using it right. I get a lot of traction, but not a lot of calls from them. I did put one up on my personal page through Marketplace, and that seemed to get a little traction. A lot of the times when I'm using Facebook ads, I put it out there for like brand recognition. Okay, you know, because it gets across. It does attract that demographic. You know, we run through Instagram, but again, I think it just comes down to Google. I mean, personally, when I'm looking at a restaurant or someplace I want to go, I'm looking at Google reviews. That's what I'm going into.
Right.
And I'm looking at the worst from there on. So one thing I wasn't big on was you know, asking for reviews in the past. You know, now what we're doing is anytime we do a job, we send that link from Google My Business, or it's like, hey, please rate the business, let people know, blah, blah, blah. Branding, you know, you brought up the yard signs. The yard signs for us are kind of hard because we don't do that maintenance anymore. When I had the maintenance, including the mowing, I would put the signs up all throughout our town, and that would get a lot of phone calls. We definitely get inquiries going. We'll try that a little bit. Probably going to try to sponsor a league, not necessarily to put the name on the back of the jerseys, but possibly like a banner on the outfield fences. And then it's just getting the trucks out there. I tell the guys when they drive, just, go up the main streets, take your time, let them see it. So,
right. So now, okay, here you go on your signs that you said you put all over the place. How many do you put out a year? What's your return investment on them? And do you put anything special on them, like say patios $29.99 starting out?
So again, when I did them, I don't do them anymore just because I don't have the amount of houses. It might be like one, and if it's on a side street, we don't bother. But when I did it, I would go after my main streets, where I want to say we had about 10 or 15 houses on main streets. I paid somewhere around like $300 or $400 for this double-sided signs, and all they had were, the name of my company, the phone number, and landscape services. And ROI, a few hundred versus say tens of thousands on that, between maintenance accounts and projects. It was definitely worth it. But again, I had a lot of clients that were on main drags. I had 3 that were just on a drag to an elementary school that would back up for the parent pickup line. So we get all that. And that's actually where I had a customer critique. She said, I've been trying to get a hold of you for a week, but every time I drive by the sign, I can't get the number because it's so small. So we went back and we reordered the signs and got the number just a tad bigger.
Would you ever go billboard sign?
No.
Big money.
I don't think it's not worth. I don't think it's worth the money. For one, I get the recognition on it, but I don't think it's worth it.
What if you got it really cheap? What if you got it like dirt cheap, and know it's in an area that it won't get changed often?
It'd have to be really cheap to do it. And I haven't checked billboard signs, Jesus Christ, 12, 15 years now. And back then, it was something like 10 grand for the initial, and then it was a few grand per month to keep it going. Again, depending on the ROI, but I don't pay attention to billboard signs,
Right.
So it's tough. I think, again, it's the brand recognition of getting stuff right in your face, whether it's, the trucks driving around, the shirts, try to put out some lawn sign, maybe do like some freebie giveaways, where it's like, hey, you'll do a free 2-yard mulch job, or, we're at the mowing for this raffle or this fundraising. It's tough. I mean, everybody has their way, but again, billboard signs are tough for me. You're making me want to check the investment, but I don't think that the ROI would be there for a lawn care landscape company.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so I was reached out to be featured in like a landscape. Well, it's pretty much a magazine for like golf in our area, for all the golf places, and we'd be the only landscape person in there. Would you do something like that? And do you think it's worth an investment?
I think it's too, because of just the networking alone. Like, you're going to be meeting a lot of different individuals, especially from all like the golf scene, and people, obviously, golfers that need services for their own house. They love playing on a golf course. They probably have some landscaping jobs that are available for you. Just anything that could expand your networking.
Okay. Now, one last question, Josh, and this is one of the questions that, like, I've been asked, and I do it often. When you do a job, let's say you're out there doing a patio, do you put a sign out in front of there that you're doing the patio?
Yep.
Okay.
Put the sign out. One of the trucks will be out front.
Right.
Preferably the dump truck. I got a big older GMC 6500 that definitely sticks out.
Is that the one you were trying to sell me for $1,000? As long as I came and got it?
He's going to give it to you for free.
Oh, that's right. You were going to give it to me for free as long as I came and picked it up.
That was the F350 utility body with the ladder racks.
Dang it! I should have grabbed it.
You should have grabbed that.
Let me ask, Josh. When you do put the sign up after you do a job, do you offer the client a discount for keeping it on after the job's been completed?
That's a question. Yeah.
No, I don't. We're just asking if we can keep it up for a little bit. So with the mowing back in the day, I used to take like $50 a month off the bill.
Okay.
To have a client, and they would usually keep it up for like a month. And then we take it down. But for the hardscapes, no. I mean, you got to figure on a hardscape job, we could be there 3 days to a month and it's up there. So it's free advertising during that time. The trucks are out front, so it does what we have to do. Plus, not to mention, people see your sign, they're not necessarily seeing the project that you're doing unless it's like a front yard renovation. But on a backyard, you're looking at the sign thinking, what did they do? The bushes, they look like shit. The grass looks like shit. So, they don't know exactly what you did.
Right. So see, that was one thing we were doing, and we did a job last week, and the lady enjoyed it because she hasn't had her bushes trimmed. She hadn't had mulch and done in, I think she said 10 years. So we came in, we did all that stuff, and when she was done, she was like, put a sign out, to let everybody know. But I looked at the yard, and the yard hasn't been cut for the first time this year. Probably wasn't cut like the last month. So it was kind of like, okay, I was like, yeah, sure, we can probably bring a sign by. But I was like, do I really want to put the sign in there? Because unless I have it specified landscaping done by us, which I've done in the past, it's kind of hard to just put here, we're up there and we did this job.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
I've considered the Adopt an Island program, but I haven't gotten anything that wasn't like off in like East Bumfuck. So that's the tough part.
Yes, yeah. That's one of the tough parts, especially when you're doing a job that, you want to make sure that you're doing a lot of work, or you have it individually what you're doing for them. I mean, that's one of the things I kind of, I don't mind putting signs in if I'm, maintaining the whole property. We do it for a couple of our commercial accounts where we do everything for them. So I'll just go ahead and put it in there for that free advertisement. But yeah, I've never given a discount for the sign. I always ask before we do it. And then, go ahead and put it. So I think that saves us having to give a discount. I know you said you were giving a discount for the ones that you were doing and you would put it in there for a month. I think it's one of those things that you kind of got to look at it on a regular basis and decide if you want to put it in there and look at the job too. So
I'm a big fan of driving by a site and seeing trim bushes.
Yeah, but a nice trim bush is always good. So it makes it look very nice and professional when it's nice taken care of. So, anyways, on to the next thing. So we are into our first half hour. We're into the next half hour where we're going to talk about some really tough things. And Josh loves this part when we ask these tough questions. So, have you ever been stuck in traffic and you're sitting there? And I know you have, Josh, because you have, and I know JC has. But have you ever been stuck in traffic and wonder how many people that are stuck in traffic are either hungry, they're thirsty, or they have to go to the bathroom?
Or all three.
Or all three, yeah. And were you one of them?
Oh, yeah. Many times. I mean, you know how many close calls I've had? And it's like every single red light hits you.
Yeah.
You're just hovering above your seat, especially if you have like fabric instead of leather.
Oh,
yeah. That's happened many times to me, and it's just mismanagement. I'm just awful at time management. I need to learn my body.
Yeah. It's hard. Like, how do you know? Like, okay, if you have to go to the bathroom, okay, you go to the bathroom before you get in the car for a quick, let's say you're jumping on the freeway and that's having construction. And okay, how do you know it's not going to back up in 10 minutes? If you're only going 15 minutes.
The worst is when it's like so painful, like for 2 minutes, and all of a sudden it settles down and you feel fine again. You're like, all right, good, I can make it. Next thing you know, it just comes right back again. It's like Yeah.
I think Josh has been there. He just doesn't want to talk about it. He had an accident.
You got to keep trucking.
Yep.
I've definitely been there. I mean, I don't really give a shit about anybody else around me when I'm in that position. Man, I had an episode last summer, and on the way home, I take 495 that merges to another highway that I used to get home. And before they updated this off ramp, JC probably knows what I'm talking about. They updated it to 2 lanes. It used to back up for about 5 or 6 miles. And at this point, I had to go, and there was no pull up to go. So I had to do the old Gatorade bottle.
Jeez. So, JC,
and I hate doing that. But
yeah.
It's just such a good feeling afterwards, though, man.
Yeah. So, Pablo says, JC, you need to train your body before you go to go on trips. So Okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just happens though. Like it's like comes out of nowhere, Like
Yeah. And
Mm.
Paul says TMI. Paul says TMI. Uncle Paul says TMI. So
it's rough, man. It's rough. It's kind of like a game though, like you beat the clock,
right. You want to hurry up and get there before anything happens.
Yeah.
Dude, the pea's one thing though, but like on a 90-degree summer day after you've drinking some coffees and having lunch, and all of a sudden you get that like that's a race for your life. And the closer you get to a toilet, the worse it gets. And you're like, bubble gut. Running.
Have you ever had to like go into like a McDonald's bathroom just like, oh man, you have no choice.
I ran into a Home Depot one day, and public bathrooms to me is just fucking disgusting. How you can end up with poop against the wall in a bathroom is disgusting. So I ran in one day, and this one has piss all over the toilet. This one had shit, and at the end of it, there's no way I could bend over to clean it. I would have done the same thing against the stall door. So it was just running and having to wait, and that was horrible. I mean, I had one when I first started this where I was working up in New Hampshire in the woods, and I had to go, and I lost my sock in the woods. Put it that way.
Dude, I'm a huge bird's nest guy. If you don't know what that means, I'll clarify.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
I kind of get what you're talking about, but
yeah, that's when you like stack up the freaking toilet paper on the toilet seat.
Yes,
little barrier. I'm sure it does no difference, but mentally it just gives you a little more peace of mind.
Nope.
Yeah, I can't do public bathrooms. If I'm going more than pee, I can't do it. I can't. They're just everywhere we go is just nasty. It's one of those things. Like no, sorry.
How about this? All right, so this happens to me sometimes.
Okay.
When you really, really, really have to go, right? It's a public bathroom, and then you go into the bathroom, and just right before you're about to go, someone walks in, and you just wait until they leave because you don't want to freaking sound like a clogged muffler exploding. Just that courtesy. I'm a very courteous person. I just don't want to freaking be like, oh my God, what did I walk into kind of guy,
I let it rip, but with me, I'm so childish to the point where like if I'm in the stall and I lose it. I start cracking up. I can't help it. I fucking laugh like a little fucking 10-year-old kid. I feel so bad, but it's like Jesus Christ. Oh. My worst for me is when you're in a single stall. I won't use gas station bathrooms as a single stall because the anxiety that comes with you got to go to the bathroom. And usually when you go in those public bathrooms, if you got to take a deuce, you're not in and out of there in like 2 minutes. It's one of those, someone starts hitting the handle. You're like, someone's in there. I'm in here. No. And it's that built up anxiety because you got the bird's nest going. You're trying to go. It's the forever wipe. And it's just like, oh, God, it's a whole fucking thing.
Oh, my God. That's so that's funny, man.
Yeah.
It's just because, like, you feel bad for the other person because, they have to go too. Yeah. And then you're going to be a while,
Yeah.
You ever have the walk-ins where you forget to lock the door in a single stall? It's that moment of pause where it's like, oh, God, for both parties.
You ever rip one in the elevator and then the door opens and some chick walks in?
Oh, gosh. That's the worst. That's the worst when you're in the elevator by yourself and you're like, okay, I can fart now. Yeah. And you fart and then somebody walks right in there and you're like, really? You had to walk in now on the next floor. And you have to write it down, and you have to be just straight faced, like nothing happened. Like
you got to own it, man. Yeah, you got to own it. Yeah.
Yep. Like I never. No, that's not me.
You know she's about to do the same thing right after you, anyways. So.
Yeah. Oh, or you're walking down the aisle. I've done it in the aisle of grocery store. Walk down the aisle of grocery store, and nobody be there, and I'll fart, and then I'll start looking at stuff, and I'll turn around, and there's somebody walking by me, and they're like, oh, man. Yeah. These boxes of rice stink.
I had one of the old people farts in Home Depot a few months ago. I was so embarrassed. It was a packed aisle, and I'm walking, and all of a sudden it was like out of nowhere. I'm like played it off and just kept walking with the oh my God, getting old.
Dude, I'm the worst liar. Like I'll accidentally let one out, but I'll make pretend like my shoe scuffed the floor, and I look behind my shoe. I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that?
Oh, good.
Uncle Paul says, colitis takes all the shame and grossness out of your mind. When nature calls, you have to answer quickly, laugh out loud.
Dude, I keep rolls of toilet paper on my truck now. I was sick of losing the sleeves of my shirt and my socks. Where I keep a roll, and especially in winter too, because sometimes you're in like these areas. Since COVID, nothing's 24 hours anymore. Because before you would be able to go to a Dunks or a Cumberland Farms. That's what we have up here. But now it's nothing. So, you got to disappear behind a bank or a restaurant.
Dude, you got to get the dude wipes. You ever see the dude wipes?
No.
It's like it looks like a pack of Lysol wipes in a bag, but they're ass wipes for dudes.
What makes them for dudes?
I don't know. They branded dude wipes.
It's just branding.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're like scented like birchwood or something. I don't know, but
smell like a man.
Yeah, smell like a man. But yeah, they have. It's convenient, man. I don't own any, but I've seen them at the store, and it's just like has a little sticky tab that you pull out, and you get. It's like a Kleenex box or a bag or whatever, and they're moist and they're soft. Yeah, dude wipes.
Dude wipes. So what are you, a sponsor now? You just got sponsored by them?
Yeah, we should try to contact them and see if they sponsor the podcast. This could be the highlight of the advertising.
Oh. Pablo says
next week after this from my sponsors. What do you wipe your ass with?
Hey, when we talk shit, we talk shit.
Pablo says you have to have a spray bottle with a little alcohol and a lot of cleaning nasty toilets.
Oh, so he's been there before.
He's been there.
Yeah, he's learned from experience.
I thought when he said a spray bottle of alcohol, I thought he was like spraying it in his mouth or something.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Oh man.
I still couldn't do it. I'm not cleaning up someone else's shit. I mean, dude, I've walked into a public fucking bathroom, multi-stall, and just as loud as possible go, "You nasty motherfuckers. You fucking nasty dudes. This is why fucking women complain, blah, blah, blah." I mean, how do you, sit down and piss. If you can't get it in that giant hole, sit down and piss because it's gross. And I'm like, I'm not fucking cleaning up someone else's piss of shit. There's no fucking way.
Dude, right. I heard women are worse than guys in the bathroom.
I don't know. I've heard that too.
I live with 3 of them, and I don't know. They're fine. But I don't know about
they were trained. They were trained by you, right?
No, not trained by me. No. Yeah, stand up to pee. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's one of the things I hate to do is go to the bathrooms at public bathrooms. So yeah. So now that we're into the spring rush and everything's going good this year, what's your outlook for the rest of the year? Josh, JC, what's your outlook for sales, predictions of weather? What?
I'm out of the game, but
you're never out of the game. Come on,
I'm out of the game, man. But I think once the weather starts cooperating up here, it's going to be busy. People are getting eager. They're tired. People are still recovering from the whole COVID shutdown and the crappy seasons we've had after that. And I think people are just ready to kind of go, just get a different type of feel going on. And people are going to be outside more and more outdoor projects. And people are just getting tired of being inside all the time. So this is going to be work, I hope.
I think work's still going to be there. I mean, work's not going to change. I think a lot of people look at things throughout the year. I feel like during the spring, there's always a fluctuation of more people looking at what needs to be changed out and what needs to be done. But it's more of, as an owner, you got to kind of look at every job throughout the year. It's not like, spring, there's a lot of things that it's kind of hard sometimes. Like we had a customer earlier just recently ask us about a tree, and she's like, well, it's dead. And then I kind of went out and looked at it, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not dead. It's still got, it's still flexible. It's not snapping apart. It's not dead. And she's like, well, there's no buds on it yet. And I said, well, half the trees are just now starting to bud. Sometimes trees take time. It just depends on the bush, the tree, the species. And I said, so how do you know it's dead? And she's like, well, it's it didn't look right last year, so I think it's dead. So you just need to cut it down. I said, okay, well, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, let's wait for a couple weeks, maybe a month, and then we'll reassess the situation. It's one of the things that you need to do. You know, I said there's things that can be done before you take the tree down, unless you just want it totally taken down. You know, and she goes, well, no, I really don't want to take it down. It was a beautiful tree years ago. And I said, okay, then let's wait and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I think that's one of the things. And, you know, it's one of the things I think as an owner, like I said, you got to look at every job throughout the year. You know, if you're maintaining, say, 50 yards, you want to go throughout the year and say, okay, what can I do to this customer, you know, get done for this customer that make them happier? You know, maybe their bush is dying and you notice it in September, but they don't see it till January or March and say, oh, well, I want it done now. That can be done in September if you get caught right at that point. So, Josh, what's your predictions for this year? You're going to expand to $15 million, right?
Yeah, I wish. No, I mean, I'm essentially, you know, try to, you know, beat our numbers by like 15-20%, you know, grow the bottom line a little bit. I'm hoping to add substantial snow accounts, you know, and kind of go from there. Again, our growth is usually in the snow plowing. You know, obviously try to save some money as a business owner, but it's like, you know, that's the idea of bringing, you know, the bulk mulching and saving, because you don't want to cut any payroll because guys got to live too. Things are so goddamn expensive now. You know, the guys are going to be looking for OT and extra money. So again, that's where, you know, the snow comes in. I'm going to try to salary a few guys. So there's obviously a budget goal in there for the winter. I'm not looking at any big purchases this year. The truck was one, and then, you know, possibly, you know, if we grow with the snow, we'll purchase as needed, you know, whether that's a used or a new or a lease. So I have a lot of personal goals this year to go after. So, you know, financial, you know, my own health. And so we'll see.
Yeah, I understand. I think that's how I'm looking at it. I mean, yeah, there's a couple things that we'd like to expand on, maybe expand our shop a little bit more. But one of the things this year was to have, you know, mulch in-house, dirt in-house, having a loader on site at all times to where we can use it also at certain jobs. So, I mean, we're getting to that point right now, and we're starting to do certain things. And then also just to kind of get on more of not a health issue. I mean, our health is pretty good, but I want to work on our financial stuff for the future, for our family and our kids. So that's always a main thing. So I think we have a lot to do still the year, and I think that's always good to start out crazy and just go from there. So we're coming to the end, guys. Anything you guys want to add to this week's show that you might have thought of?
No, look forward to getting back on again next week and continue with the podcast.
Yeah, it's been we've been off for 2 weeks, so you know, Josh had to have that surgery, but you know, he's still got one nut.
He kept his name.
Yep, they kept his name. But it was very good. Thank you guys for all being on. Thank you guys for watching, listening, entertaining us. I know that we had a bunch of people on Instagram. We had a bunch of people on YouTube today. So thank you guys. Enjoy watching the show. Listen to us on Spotify. I mean, we're on Spotify. We're on Chartable. We're on a whole bunch of other places. We just got put on a different place. I forget what it is, but it's amazing that we just keep popping up on different, you know, listening areas. So thank you guys for listening to us. Thank you guys for watching us. We'll be back next week. So thank you guys. And thank you to our sponsor, Cujo, for sponsoring the show. So thank you guys. Have a good week, and we'll all see you guys next week.